Good morning. It's good to see everybody. Thank you guys for coming. If you're watching online, we are so thrilled to have you guys today. Thank you for being part of Journey Church. If you're here for the first time, man, we're honored that you would take a few minutes out of your busy schedule and check out Journey Church. So thank you for being here. We'd like to invite you back. I'll go ahead and say this. Next Sunday, anybody know what next Sunday is? Breakfast Sunday. And if you don't know what Breakfast Sunday is, between the 9 and the 11 o'clock service, so therefore at 10 o'clock we have a big breakfast out. We invite all. It's free. Come eat. Let me get a show. Do we eat well around here? Yeah. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, tells me you've never been here to eat, and that's okay. But we eat well. But it's a great time. It's easy to invite somebody, so take advantage of that. Again, next Sunday, between the 9 and the 11 o'clock service, 10 o'clock breakfast, and it's awesome. So anyway, a lot going on, or the normal things, I guess, going on. We just got through a really busy week serving a lot of schools, and we did Big Toy Day yesterday. So again, that's kind of, well, it's not kind of, that is serving the school system. That's an event that they do to raise money to help the schools and the kids through the year, and we've been partnering with them now for I don't know how many years. Probably since shortly after we started. So it's awesome. Thank you guys for being a part of that. If you volunteered, thank you. And if you're part of this church, thank you, because you make things like that possible. If you, this week, most of you know the normal things going on. You can always go online. You can check out at the desk out there, but we've got Reach on Tuesday, Wednesday's Adult Bible Study. I've already talked about Sunday morning is breakfast. We've got September the 17th is the night of worship. You don't want to miss out on that at 5:30. Again, September the 17th. There's some shirts. If you'd like a shirt that we're taking pre-orders for, they're out front. You can see them about that. Something new, and you can check this out. And this is a ladies group where we're trying to get up and started. Some folks have expressed interest. It's a mom's group. You can stop by the Need Help desk, and I think they can give you a little more information on that. So check that out. And then, it's always, we do the normal stuff. We can always use volunteers. Sounds like a tired old horse, but it's just the truth. We always need help in anything from our ministries to things like Big Toy Day. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in just a few minutes, actually, how that looks and what it feels like to be a part of that. So check that out as well if you're interested. And you may find yourself, if you're sitting on your hands, you may want to find yourself before this message is over either wanting to just walk out the door, or you got to get off your hands and maybe do something. I don't know. There's some benefits to being involved in the local church. So that's what's going on that I know about. We do offering you can give. There's 2 little boxes right outside the door here. That if you're like, I'm still old school, you can drop it straight in there. If you like to do it a different way, you can mail to 61 B. Sicker Road. You can go online, you can go to our app, or you can text to 77977. It's really interesting, the giving at this church, because what I've watched is God take and just explode it. I mean, we started this thing 11 years ago with nothing. And I look around today and I see how we've been blessed. And I think the blessings come from obedience. So I say that to you if you're a member or not a member, but if you're a supporter of this church, then the obedience is what's key. I just truly believe that. I think when we're obedient, God blesses that, and we see things take off and just do some amazing things. So thank you guys. I say all that to say thank you. Because of your generosity, we can do church, and we can do it in a big way without reservations. We don't have to have a committee meeting when a group calls us and says, can you guys come out and serve at something like Big Toy Day? We can look at it and say, can we get the volunteers? We've got the resources. Let's go. And it's been amazing to go out in the community with that attitude. So with that said, we're going to jump into the message. Picking up where Matt started, well, this will be week 3, picking up where Matt started 3 weeks ago. He started talking about balance, because I think balance is it's a desirable trait in our life. It's so hard to grasp and hold on to sometimes. And it seems like for me and Tammy, I know, just like when you think you've got balance, something comes up and skews it a little bit. But Matt just poured it out there, and I thought it was so amazing. And I told him the other day, he and I were talking. It really shook me, and I'm sure it shook some of you guys. It made me rethink some of my habits. It's real easy as a pastor. I spend a lot of time in the Bible. But most of it, I find myself, I'm guilty of this, is not my quiet time in the Bible, it's sermon prep time in the Bible. And not being a pastor, you may not understand, but there is a huge difference. It's just a huge difference. I'm still in it, and I'm still growing, and I'm getting some information, but I'm doing it looking for something particular. So it's a little different. And Matt challenged me a little bit on that in his message, just as he did a lot of us when he talked about prayer. That if you want to find balance, you probably should start by praying with a passion. And I think we should do that. It was interesting, I think the number he gave was, if you're the average person that prays, you pray 2 minutes a day. I'm thinking, wow, isn't that sad? We give God 2 minutes a day of our prayer time. Quiet time with God. And I got to think about it. I'm going to make you guys heroes today. If you're that average person that gives him 2 minutes, I'm going to make you a prayer warrior. Pray 4 minutes. You just topped it by 100%, the average person, and now you're a prayer warrior, right? Not even close. But it's a good start. It's a good start. I used to challenge people. I said, just improve your habits, things that are good. Try to improve them incrementally. If you can improve 1 or 2% a day, by the end of the year, you've gone somewhere between maybe 50 to 100% better. So just try it. Just try it. But we need to pray, and we need to pray more. And I just thought that was, if you want to find balance in your life, I can't think of a better place to start than with our quiet time with God and in prayer. And then if you were here last week, I kind of silly, but I'll introduce you guys to Carl the Camel, because it's really important to me to find balance in our life, because this I know, life comes at every one of us fast and hard, and it gets heavy. And when the foundation is worldly and relying on ourselves, and I demonstrated it with Carl, the back will break. I mean, we just can't carry it. And I love the old saying, the straw that broke the camel's back, because I just always remind myself the straw doesn't break the camel's back. The load's what breaks the camel's back. And if you're here today, if you're alive, if you're watching online, there is a load that's going to accumulate on your back, and at some point, if you've got the wrong foundation, it will probably break. And with Carl, we demonstrate it broke really early. I mean, really early. We hadn't even got our life up and going, and yet we saw his back break. So the key there is the foundation. If you want to find balance, it's the foundation that we build our life on, and the foundation should be Jesus Christ. Because with Jesus Christ, all of a sudden, I can carry the load that life brings at me. Because I'm telling you, if you're here and you know this, the load is coming. Life will come at you, and it will come at you hard and fast. It just does. Or either you're living under a rock. And if you're living under a rock, I'm going to suspect the rock's going to get heavy, and it's going to break your back. You're going to want to get out from under it. So anyway, life will come out at you very fast. And then again, if you were here last week, you may recall I ended with this. I talked a little bit about what Paul told us, and I think this is really, really important. But Paul gave us something that we've discounted. I think we actually, when I discounted it, we probably just went straight over it in the church. We probably just went straight over. And this is what Paul told us. This was in Galatians chapter 6. And I'm going to give you an extra verse today. We talked about verse 2 last week. I'm going to give you verse 2 and 3. And just think about this. And again, you heard this last week, but you're going to hear it again today. Share each other's burdens, and in this way obey the law of Christ. Share each other's burdens, in this way obey the law of Christ. If you think you're too important to help someone, you're only fooling yourself. You're not that important. Wow. Wow. And I thought, that's dead on. And share each other's burden. Let me tell you something. If you think you're too good to help somebody, let me give you some context. To go ahead and let's put that myth out the door right now, okay? If you think you're too important, and I know a lot of you guys, you're great people. Maybe you have positions of importance, and I don't know what that looks like. The keeper of a home has great position of importance, so it's kind of hard to determine that, but we think we have this position of importance, and we're too busy and too important to help somebody else. Let me give you some context. There was a guy named Jesus. And last time I checked, still true then and still true today, he was the Son of God. Yeah. You know what he did? He died on the cross for you. He's a pretty important guy. I've checked. I've read this book. I do read the Bible. And he's not a pretty important guy. He is the guy. And yet, he took time to help me and you and you and you. And Paul's just saying, listen, if you think you're that important, I don't want to bust your bubbles today, but if you think you're that important, you're not. You're not. Not if Jesus can model it, then you're not that important. And we need to model the same as he did. We're not too good to help someone. We really aren't. Now, this is a side note. This was just fun for me. And in seminary, you get a lot of this stuff. And this one, when I was working on this, I thought, well, now, wait a minute. I know what 6:2 says, but there was something else in Galatians. And in Galatians 6:5, we get a different story. And this is where I have a little fun. I try to always have some fun. But this is one that gives the skeptics and the non-believers, they get excited when they read Galatians 6:2 and they read Galatians 6:5. Galatians 6:2 says that we should carry each other's burdens. Guess what Galatians 6:5 says? You should carry your own burdens. Well, the non-believing world gets really excited. Goes, well, there's a contradiction in the Bible. We told you it wasn't, you couldn't believe it. It's contradicting, and it did it in a matter of about 3 sentences. It goes, you should carry others' burdens, and then it said, well, you should carry your own burdens. Let me help you in case that comes up. Most of you are going, this isn't going to come up in my general conversation because I only spend 2 minutes praying and no time reading. Holy cow, shouldn't have said that one, should I? We get real around here. Let me tell you, there is no contradiction. Well, you're going, Mark, you just said carry each other's burdens, carry your own burdens. Let me tell you, there is no contradiction. If you study the Bible, the New Testament's in Greek, Old Testament Hebrew typically. So the English language, and I've been told this all my life, and I'm starting to believe it, is somewhat impoverished when it comes to other languages. So here's why there is no contradiction. The word burden, we use the word burden in the English language. Burden this, burden that, burden can be anything. Sometimes I talk about burdens being very positive, but we use the word burden for everything. In the Bible, there's 11 different words that we translated into burden. It don't work that way, guys. And if you look at 6:2, the word is, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm not a Greek scholar. Baros is the word. It means a weight. And if I'm carrying a weight, guess what? Ronnie can come up here and help me carry the weight. He does it all the time. He really does. I mean, listen, my wife helps me carry the weight. Some of you guys help carry the weight. We can do that. Baros, that's the Greek word. If you go to 6:5, the word is fortion. Fortion. I hope that's close. And it's a little different. It's a task. And if I've got a particular task, it may be a task that you can't help me with. It's two different words. There is no contradiction. So for my skeptical friends that want to use that, I'm sorry, you lose again, and I love that. It won't hold water. It doesn't work that way. So that was free, by the way. That was just a side note in this message, not really what we're here about. What I want to push down on is this because I think it's so important, is sharing each other's burdens. Sharing each other's burdens. The weight that we feel, the weight that we saw with Carl. Carl's not here today. Carl broke his back. But that's what I want to push down because I think it's really important. And again, I think there's an interesting phenomenon going on when Paul shared it in Galatians about this sharing each other's burdens. He said, and by the way, if you think you're too important, you're really not. So that tells me something. That must have really been a big issue at the time when Paul was writing this. That it was about, as I think back and I do a little history, there was kind of the upper end and there was the lower end. There wasn't much of a middle end, so the upper end certainly felt like they were too good to help the lower end. And Paul said, that's not the case. We should all help each other. It's important that we do that. And I think that was important then. I think it's important today. I think we still have that. We hear about class systems in other countries. We have a class system in this country determined by a whole lot of different factors, but it's still an issue today. But I think there's another issue today, the one in the local church that's infiltrated the local church, and it's done it subtly, and it's done it, we don't even perceive it as being an issue, but I think it's a huge issue. And I think this is what hurts us when I read, you should share each other's burdens in this way you obey the law of Christ, because the law of Christ to me is love your neighbor. And when I'm sharing their burdens, I'm loving my neighbor. Now, you can debate that a little bit, that that's not the law of Christ that he's talking about. I think it is. That's an opinion, so we'll go with that. You don't have to agree with me on that. But if it is, then sharing a burden is doing that, is fulfilling that. But you know why I think one of the problems is we don't share each other's burdens? And this is what I really want to talk about today. And you can look around when I say this. We don't know each other. We don't know each other. You know the person sitting right beside of you probably. Look a couple rows up, a couple rows back. And we don't know each other. And I think that's sad, because I believe if among many things that the local church should be, it should be an incubator for relationships. It should be an incubator for relationships. What better place to build relationships than the local church? With people that are either they're exploring Christ, they believe Christ, they're devout followers of Christ, but what better place to build relationships? And if you're the person that's just here exploring Christ, let me tell you, I am so excited you're here. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Mark Rachels. We'll start here. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do it. We should, though. We should. And before the day's over, you're going to understand how serious I am about this. And I'm not going to make you introduce yourselves or anything, so sit tight. I could see some people starting to fidget. I'm getting out of here. He's going to make me speak. I was that guy a couple years ago, man. If I thought I was going to have to speak, I was out the door. That's not what we're going to talk about today. But we don't know each other. And it's kind of, this shirt's pretty cool. My wife went to a conference. I got a shirt. And that's pretty cool. I like the shirt. And I thought one of these days it's going to be relevant. But I love what it says. Everything changes when we know someone. It's not verbatim what it says, but that's what it is. Everything changes when we know someone. And if I'm going to carry your burden or you're going to carry my burden, guess what would help? If we knew somebody, if we knew each other. It would be powerful if we would do that. Because I believe this. Everything changes when you know someone. I think you can take it. I think it changes even more. Not just knowing them. And I think this is so key. Everything changes when I know your name. And you know my name. Everything changes when we know each other's name. You know what? I've learned about a person's name. And this came from this conference, but I thought it's dead on. Tammy shared the book with me. A person's name gives them identity. Hey, I'm not just a guy. You're not just the one that sits 4 rows back and on the right side, which in the old church made you a Democrat, and over here made you a Republican, and you guys couldn't make up your mind. But that's how we used to identify people. It gives you a name. It gives you belonging. When we know each other's name, it gives us belonging. It does. It gives you identity, it gives you belonging, and it gives you purpose. Think about it. Think about it. If you're out in public and somebody that you run across and they know your name, how does that make you feel? I know how it makes me feel, and I'm a pastor. Now, sometimes it makes me feel real bad because you sit there and talk to me like I've known you all my life, and you came one Sunday, and it's real easy for you to know my name, and I have no clue who you are. But there's no relationship there, and that happens all the time, and it's heartbreaking to me. I thought, I wish I knew your name. Because I understand this. It gives a person identity, belonging, and purpose. Everything changes when you know their name. So I've got to apologize. I don't know all of y'all's names. I know a lot of you. Names have never been my strength. Memorization is not my strength. But remembering names, and I do it by association. You wouldn't want to know how I associate some of y'all and keep your names straight. You just don't, so don't ask. But that's how I do it. But I know this. Everything changes when you know their name. Now let me give you something. I had to work on this, and I've done it. I've gone back and forth a couple things. Here's what we've got to understand as the church, as the local church. We're a growing church. In a given week, there's a lot of people coming in and out of these doors. There really are. And what you see, people say this, if whatever our attendance is, you can multiply times a factor because people come every 3 Sundays as the national average. So let's just say you got 500, and you're a church probably of 1,000. And you're going, holy cow, how can I know their name? You're saying everything changes when they know their name. Let me give you an out on that one. Everybody here can't be known by everybody here. But everybody here can know someone here. Did you get that? If we did it right now, there's no way you'd remember all these names. Everyone here cannot know everyone here. But everyone here can know someone here. And it shouldn't be me, by the way. It shouldn't be me. We need to learn, we need to meet, we need to know those around us. Everyone can't be known by everyone here, but everyone here can know someone here. And that needs to be a goal. If we're going to carry each other's burdens, I don't know what your expertise is, but maybe you can help this person carry a burden. But before you can help them carry the burden, you need to know them, and then you need to know their name. You're going, wow, you're making us do something. Get out of town. What a novel idea. We don't read the Bible, we don't pray, and now we don't want to learn who we're sitting beside of. Shame on us. Something else I've learned. 3 things that people want in their life. They want to be known. They want to be known. When you walk in this room, you want to be known by somebody. You want to be noticed. You want people to realize you're here, and you want to be loved. That's not asking too much. And let me tell you, this is interesting. I've thought about this. We live in a different day today. We have this type worship, corporate worship, where we come together in a building. We've got people watching online. I want you to be known, noticed, and loved as well. You got to help us, though. You got to let us know you're watching. You got to tell us who you are. You're going to have to share your burdens with us in a different way because I can't see you. You can see me, and you can see someone of this crowd. You got to help us there, but we want to know you. We want you to be known, and we want to love you. We want to know your name. Either that or we might as well cut off that camera because you can't be a part of this church if we don't know you, if you don't feel known and you don't feel loved. And that burden's not on you guys, that's on us. But everybody here, listen, I'm telling you, you can't know everybody, but you need to know someone because you may need somebody to help you carry your burden as you go down this thing we call life. Paul put it in the book, it's important. Share each other's burden. He said this talking to the church at Thessalonica in 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 11. This is what he said, and think about this in carrying each other's burdens. So encourage each other Build each other up just as you were already doing. They were doing it, but now he's telling us we need to do the same thing. We need to encourage each other and build each other up. It's hard to do if you don't know the person sitting beside of you or behind you or in front of you. And it's easy. Listen, I talk about this a lot in my little world. It's real easy when we come in the door. Real easy. We get in our little holy, I call them holy huddles sometimes. And I'm good with my friends because I know what's going on. And listen, I'm going to pick my friends that don't have a lot of burdens that need to be carried because I don't want to carry your burdens. That's the mentality I think we have sometimes. Paul says, no, that's the wrong thing. Jesus carried your burdens. You need to go out and help carry somebody else's. You need to pick up the slack. You need to get out and you need to do something. You need to be a part of helping others. Now, my question is, what keeps us from doing that? Why won't we do that? I think part of it is this. Especially when it comes to the local church. I think part of it's this. And this is subtly filtered into the local church. This is subtly filtered into church, period. And I'll probably upset some of you on this one. You're big people. I don't mean that literally. You'll get over it. You'll get over it. Here's what's happened. We've made church a checklist. Well, I went to church on Sunday. Check that one off. Got real quiet. It's just on our checklist. Well, I need to go to church today. Click. I need to go to the grocery store today. Click. I need to get my gas in my car. Click. I need to go to the bank. Click. I need to go to work. Click. I need to send my kid to school. You get the point? Listen, church is not a thing to check off. Following Christ is a lifestyle. It was never meant to be on a checklist. It's meant to be on a live list. Did you get that? A live list. Listen, and if you're here and that's all you're going to do is come in on Sunday, I'm glad you're here. Keep your ears open because you got a lot to learn. Because I'm telling you, this thing that Paul talks about when we carry each other's burdens, man, that's a life changer. That's a life changer. If you remember, Carl's back broke. As an individual, when I'm doing it that way and my back gets heavy and it breaks, everything's messed up. I've learned something when we carry each other's burdens. This is pretty interesting. A load is only half a load when there's two people carrying it. And that's cliche, I get it. But a load becomes half a load. What about this? What about if this group starts help carrying this person's load because it's so heavy and it's a burden that they can't hardly bear, but yet this group that they know at church steps in and says, can we help you? Can we help carry part of it? Now all of a sudden a load becomes maybe a fifth of a load or a tenth of a load, or maybe the whole church gets involved. I've seen that happen here. Oh my gosh. Then the load it's amazing how much, it's life-changing. It's life-changing when we get involved, but we can't get involved until we know people. We got to know people. We got to know their names. People want to be known. They want to be noticed. They want to be loved. And as they said in the conference, a name gives a person identity, belonging, and purpose. Think about how that would change. Think about how that would, forget the church for a moment. Think about how that would change your life and how your life may change someone else's life. If you put those simple principles into action, just learning somebody, learning their name, getting to know them. Relationship, it's what it's all about. It's from the beginning of the Bible, it's about a relationship. And yeah, I try to build my life on that, and I've learned, I'm telling you, this is so important. I'm looking through here. Life is coming at everybody. If you're in this room, life will come at you. Different shapes, I'm looking around. Different shapes, different forms. You have different burdens. You have different wins, different losses. You have different things to give praise about. It comes at us fast. But you need to have a body around you. And I'll give you some foundation for it. The first relationship you need to have is with Jesus Christ. The first, you got to start there. If you don't start there, I'm telling you, the back's going to break. The first relationship's got to be with Jesus Christ. Now, everybody's situation from there may get a little different. But the foundation of my relationships has got to be Jesus, and that's number one in my life. You'll have to figure out what's number two for you. For me, it's my wife. And I'm going to tell you, she's carried me through some of my worst burdens ever. And I've had them. Don't kid yourself. Well, you're the pastor. You don't know what a burden is. Come walk in my shoes. This poor woman has to watch me through the dark night. She has to watch me when I'm sick, when I'm broken, when I'm heartbroken over you. And you know what? She carries my burdens. I hope I do the same for her. I'm not as good at it as she is. So that's number two in my life. So I've got this amazing Savior, and I've got an amazing wife that walks with me. She carries me, and I'm telling you, she's carried me through my sickest and worst time. She was right there. I would have ran. Been so easy, but not her. Not her. So that's two. You know what the third relationship is? I have this amazing church family. Now, y'all are my burden sometimes. Let's break the tension here a little bit. Let me rephrase that. Y'all my tension most of the time. I'm kidding. No, y'all are an amazing family. And it's been really interesting as we've progressed in this church and I've watched it move forward, how it's grown. It's grown. Because I look around, and I'm doing that deliberately right now. I look around this room. Some of you guys I didn't know 6 months ago. Some of you guys I didn't know 2 months ago. Some of you I've known all my life. I wish I didn't. Just a joke. I'll quit joking. That's just a joke. That's just a joke. Y'all are going, hey, it's mutual. We don't know you either. But I've watched it, and you know what? There's times when you carry my burdens. You carry the things that I couldn't do by myself. You're there for me. I hope I can carry some of your burdens. I hope I'm there for you guys. But I'm just telling you, you know me. And a lot of you guys I know. I can call a lot of y'all's names. Some of you I can't. I'm sorry. I can't know everybody, but I know somebody. But you guys got to help on that one, because the ones I don't know, somebody here's got a responsibility. You need to know somebody. And it's easy. Listen, you guys get the bug out of here. When it's over, y'all get the bug out. Wait till somebody needs to carry your load, and nobody knows your name. You might want to linger a little bit. You might want to hang around a little bit. You might want to get to know somebody. Maybe you want to spend some time, because while you may be able to carry somebody's burden, maybe somebody at some point is going to need to help carry your burden. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. That's one of my favorite things. It's a game changer. So how do we do that? How do we get him? How do we know somebody? How do we know somebody? It's a novel thing. I learned it when I was a young child. My daddy taught me this, and my daddy was not the most outgoing, sociable guy, but he taught me this. You walk up and say, hey, I'm Mark Rachels. How you doing? Y'all might not want to say Mark Rachels. That might be a little freaky. How you doing? I see we go to church together. And listen, don't let me say, can I carry your burden? You probably don't want to do that. You probably don't want to do that. You want to build a relationship with them. That's a good place to start. Well, how do I do that? I don't know. I'll give you some suggestions. I'm going to be real honest. Buzzword in local church has been, for the last 10 plus years, has been small groups. Small groups. I hear it everywhere I go. I had a pastor at a big conference, big church. He's one of the few I've ever seen that was honest about it. He said, I hear about small groups, and I hear all these churches that are doing it successful, and we went down and visited some of these churches that said their small groups was so strong and so good. He said, I've learned something. They're lying. They're lying. I don't know. I'm not making that statement. Small groups, formal small groups here have not been very successful. We've tried it. We've tried it. You know why I think that is? Couple things. I'll give you a pass. You're busy. You have family, you have life, you have obligations. Priority, now I can go, that's another road, putting priorities in place. But that's the out for it, is we're busy. We can't do small group. We do church, so we can't do small group. What we have found that works really well here, though, and this was by accident. Matt or I are not this smart. Tammy, our staff, we're not that smart. This has happened by accident. But this has worked well when it comes to building relationships, is serving. You're going, you knew I was going there, didn't you? This is not really what this is about, but I'm telling you, when something works, you speak to it. They told me, don't try to fix things that are broke that you can't fix. Just do the things that you find working, do them better. And I've seen this. When you serve, you form, guess what you form? A group. You form a group. And when you form a group, I'll use J Kids. My wife heads up J Kids along with Ashley's. A couple staff members, they head up our J Kids. I guarantee you, I may be wrong, but I'm not. Tammy can tell you everybody that serves in J Kids. She knows every one of your names. But she's much better at this than I am. She probably knows 99% of the kids' names. Ashley would be the same, I would suspect. Our volunteers know each other's names. So now guess what? You're building a relationship. It's amazing. J Kids, I don't know how many there are. At one time, there was probably 40 or 50 in that group. That's probably not that's probably overstated. Say 20, but they know each other, and they can carry each other's burdens. They can pray for each other. It's amazing. Listen, Think about it. Think about the groups. Hospitality. We've got a hospitality group back there. It's interesting. They know each other. They know each other. We've got a parking team. I watch this. They stand out there in the parking lot and they build relationship. They know what's going on in each other's lives. Security. Shame when churches have to have security. But we do. We have a security team. They know each other. They have relationships. They can help carry each other's burdens. They helped carry my burden this morning. Seriously, we had a little issue, and that nothing to affect you guys, but we had a little issue. Guess what? They were right there. We carry each other's burdens. Took it off of my plate. Thank you, guys. Security. It's amazing. There's all kinds of opportunities. I'll tell you one, and this is how it works. This has really been interesting to me. In the last 6 months, I've got to know more new folks at this church that we call Journey. They started coming in, and some of them have been here a little longer than that, and others maybe not quite that long, but they started coming in. They won't let me on this team because my skill set doesn't lend itself to this. But do you know Sunday we're going to have breakfast? There's a team of men and some women that are going to come in and they're going to fix you breakfast. You want to talk about a tight-knit team? Man, those guys, they know what's going on in each other's lives. They've let me in, and I'm so blessed. They won't let me cook, but they'll let me in. I don't, and you're going, well, I don't have that skill set. I don't either, but they let me in. And you're going, well, you're the pastor. No, that's my occupation. That's not why they let me in. They let me in because we each took time to meet each other. I'm going to tell you, this is how it works, because sometimes burdens aren't bad things. They're just burdens that's got to be done. I've got a new list of men and women, and sometimes their wives, because they've sacrificed their times with their husbands. I can call these guys, and you know what? If they're available, they're going to come help. You know why? Because they know my name, and I know their name. If I didn't know their name, I couldn't call them. I think we've missed this, guys. Paul was smart enough to say, I better write about this because the church is going to botch this, but we need to share each other's burdens. And when we do that, we show that we love each other. The local church should be an incubator for that, for picking up each other and carrying them. And you're going, well, you're just trying to get us to serve. Listen, yes and no. You need to be a part of a group. Yes, you need to find somewhere to plug in. If you're a follower of Christ, we were called to do. It is an action gospel, period. To do. I don't know where you should serve, but I know this, and I see this too many times. People are out on an island, they're going, there's nobody around me. And you're going, well, what if I can't serve? What if I'm watching online? Then you still need to let us know. We need to know you. We can do something about that, I think. We'll figure it out. That's a little tougher. People say, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. I can't cook. Trust me, ask my wife. She would starve. When she gets sick, we're in trouble. Thank goodness for restaurants. You're going, you're overplaying. No, I'm not. I don't cook. But I get to be on their team on Sunday morning. And from that, and I'm just using these guys because I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing what they've done for me. I mean, we've had other groups, there's been other, but it's grown now. As this church grows, the foundation, now think about the biblical, the godly foundation. Our early foundation is Journey Church, while it was on Christ's shoulders. It's so much broader today. It's unreal. It's unreal. And I just think that's so important. But you gotta make an effort. You do. You have to make an effort. I hear this all the time. Well, nobody spoke to me. Well, did you speak to anybody? And if it's your first time in, I get that. Shame on us if we didn't speak to you. Shame on us if somebody didn't take a moment and say, hey, welcome to Journey Church. And that's ongoing. And it's really, I know it happens sometimes. You can walk in and we get busy and we don't do that, but that needs to be the goal. But, it shouldn't just be our hospitality team. It shouldn't just be our greeters. It should be anyone who's a follower of Christ. We should be meeting people right where they're at. Well, what if I don't know if it's their first time or not? Big deal. I don't know half the time. Hey, how you doing today? So glad you're here. How long have you been coming? Takes that pressure off. So thrilled you're here. My name's Mark, by the way, if I can help you. What's funny, I don't tell them I'm the pastor. It just is. In my world, it's kind of funny. Well, you're the pastor. I still try to help you. Can't help everybody, can't know everybody, but I got to know somebody. And the same is true for each and every one of us. I'm going to throw some things out. This is just fun. Because you can find somebody and somewhere to help serve here and to plug in, whether you can do the work or not. I've told somebody they were not feeling well. I think they had some surgery or something. We were going to do something. They said, I'd love to come, but I can't do anything. We'll get you a chair. Come just hang out with us. We do a lot of that, by the way. These guys will cook. They're so proficient at cooking, we get to hang out as much as they get to cook. Easy for me to say because I don't do any of the cooking. But we get to hang out. We'll have devotion. On Sunday morning, I'm going to tell you, this group of men, they're going to cook. I'll quit saying we because I'm not going to cook anything. I'm going to taste. I heard that laugh, and I know where it came from. I'm going to taste. But they're so good at it now, they're going to sit down and have about a 15-minute devotion. And before the day's over, they're probably going to pray for each other. I watch our food truck when it goes out now. Somebody's going to pray before they go out. Somebody's going to pray before they go out. We're in a season. Give you some things that's going to be coming up. There's 2 or 3 ladies groups. We've got this moms group that's trying to launch. We've got a couple other ladies groups that want to possibly kick off. We already have a ladies group during the day. We've got a men's group. We may have another men's group kicking off. There's all kinds of places where you can plug in. You can get to know somebody. Somebody can know your name and you can know their name. We've got some projects. This is a growing church. Some of you guys may not know this, but we got projects. Now, most of these, I'm going to be honest, because I'm a guy, so I relate to these. We got construction projects galore coming up. We've got some buildings that's got to have little small buildings, storage buildings. It's got to have some work done on them. You know what's great when a group of guys and or ladies come together and they're going to fix those buildings? I guarantee it's going to happen. There's going to be a group of guys say, we'll fix that. I've already showed one of them to one, and he looked at me and laughed. He said, well, that's a piece of cake. I'm thinking, not to me. I don't cook and I don't ask my wife. I'm not real good building stuff. Usually ends up leaning a little bit. We got a couple buildings we're going to be working on. We've got, I don't know if you guys know this, we own property on Winston Road, main road up here. We've got a house that's already been gutted. It's going to be a coffee shop. That's going to be a major undertaking. You know how Journey Church has got where it's at? We're a sweat equity, blue-collar church. Man, we roll up our sleeves and dig in. I'm just challenging you. You want to get to know some guys? Come up here and hang out when we get the plans for this thing. Come up here and help us redo these little buildings. Well, I don't know how to drive nails. Hey, you can hand somebody a nail. You can pick up a 2x4 and hand it to them. Or you can make excuses. And then when you got this burden that you can't carry, there's nobody there to carry it with you. You go, well, I don't know anybody. Nobody knows me. There's all kinds of opportunities. For those of you that don't know, Journey Church owns the building across the street. It's a 30,000 square foot building. I don't know how we're going to do this. I really don't. I'm praying about this one. I pray about this one too. We did this one pure sweat equity. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that is, we didn't hire labor. We walked in, we rolled up our sleeves, and we learned to do things we had no clue. It turned out really well. And let me tell you, the debt load is pennies on the dollar when you do it that way. Pennies on the dollar. We got 30,000 square feet. Right now, the tenant is moving out, and we're talking about it. We're going to be drawing up some plans. We're going to do some of it ourselves, I feel sure. You want to get to know somebody? You come over there when it's 100 degrees and the sweat's dripping off of you. You get to know people really well. Really well. I get tickled about this. Tammy and I grew up in traditional church, and we went to a church. They always made the joke. It wasn't a joke. They were being serious. They said it's the church built off of chicken pies. They sold chicken pies to raise the money to build it, and that's pretty common. I see some of you shaking your heads. You went to the same church or a church that did the same thing. And this church, you know what it was built off of? We have more fun. We didn't sell chicken pies. We bought milkshakes. We did. I'm telling you, on Monday and Wednesday nights, we'd come up here. Sonic hated to see me pull in. There was nights I'd pull in. By the time they got the last one made, the first one was ruined. We'd order 40 milkshakes and drink a milkshake and come back and get back to work. But you know what? I couldn't be more serious about this. Forget the milkshakes. Forget the projects. Forget what the building will look like. Forget fixing the little buildings. Forget building a coffee shop. You know what I built? Relationships. These aren't just acquaintances. These are relationships. I never will forget meeting some of you guys. And I'm going to speak specifically to the guys because that's who I've met through these projects. I think you're friends for life. I don't think these are acquaintances. I think if you left and said, I need to be at another church, unless we did something really stupid, I think we'd still be friends. I know we would. I built relationships. And when I build relationships, I've learned this, then we can carry each other's burdens. Hey, I would tell you this. I'll challenge you a little bit. If you want to know how to get involved, come up and see me after the message. I'll tell you about some of these projects. We got to get some people to head some of them up, but we're going to start these projects. We're going to kick it off. And next Sunday, being Breakfast Sunday, we're going to jumpstart this a little further. I'm going to help you guys because I understand this. This can be a little difficult. You've been at church now for a while with somebody and think, I wish I knew their name. I'm guilty of that. I put people up to it sometimes. Go introduce yourself and then tell me their name because I don't know their name. It's just a trick you learn. I'm guilty. But I'm going to help you next week. When you come in the door, I'll go ahead and forewarn you. When you come in the door, there's going to be some little stickers that go on your chest, and it's going to say, hello, my name is. And do not put Mark Rachel's on it. Put your name on it. Now think about it. So you're going to sit down at breakfast, and somebody across the table is going to go, hey, Tommy, I didn't know you, Tommy. Hey, I didn't know you. Hey, Ronnie, I didn't know you. Hey, Del Ray. Your name's Del Ray. Yeah, I didn't know that. And you're going to look at them and say, hey, Fred or George or Cindy or Sally, or it's going to be real easy. Guests are going to do it too, I hope. And if you don't want to put a name on your, that's okay. That's okay. But I'm telling you, it's a game changer when people know your name. Everything changes. This is amazing. It's what our kids program, that's what a segment of their kids programs, that's what they taught. Trying to teach little kids because, listen, and I've watched these kids light up when they see, and I can speak to my wife, and that is her sitting over there, by the way, today. I always look over there, and she's not there in the second service. But I've seen kids' faces light up when they see her out in public and go, hey, Tammy. And she knows their name. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. Paul told us, he said, we carry each other's burdens. So why don't we just learn each other? Why don't we take a moment out of your busy schedule, start next Sunday, real easy. Name tags are already printed. Pens are on their way. Hello, my name is. Because everything changes when we know each other's name. Let's pray. Father, thank you that we know your Son Jesus' name. We know your name because everything changes when we know Jesus. Everything. From beginning to end. Help us to learn each other. Help us to be better at carrying each other's burdens. That a load becomes half a load when we share, Father. Just let us be better, let us be stronger. Takes initiative. We've got to step out, and sometimes we've got to step out of our comfort zone. But you give us strength to do that. You'll give us the power and the energy to do that, Father. So thank you. Let next Sunday be a kickoff to something amazing as we learn each other. Not just an acquaintance, but that we learn each other and that we find there's people here that need us to help carry their load, and there's people here we need to help carry our load. So just be with us. Just watch over us, Father. Let us help carry each other's burdens, as Paul told us. For it's these things we pray in your holy name. Amen.